And welcome to the Marcus and Mike show. This is Mike. My man over here to my left is Marcus. Marcus, how you doing today, man?
Pretty good. What's going on, Michael?
Oh, living this dream down here in the corporate world. I can't be much happier.
I just heard it.
Yeah. But to escape the corporate world for a little while, let's talk a little NBA playoff basketball. Let's start with the Golden State Warriors Houston Rockets from last night. Rockets did tie the series up 2-2, heading back to Golden State. I believe they're still in San Francisco, are they not?
Yeah, no, they were in Houston last night. They're on their way back to Frisco for Game 5.
Right, so Game 5 is a 2-2 series tied. Is this a new series for them, or is it just they happen to be hitting all their shots at the right times?
Well, look, give Houston credit. To answer your question, it is a new series. It's 2-2. I mean, that's what the numbers say. That's what it is.
Numbers are a lie.
I still think Golden State is just clearly the better team. Houston had to, fight like heck and win this last game. I mean, they're barely winning these games here at home. It's weird. Watching Golden State and then the Clippers series, it's like there's something missing there where they kind of turn it off and on. Golden State shot the ball terribly yesterday and still almost had a chance to win this game right down the stretch. And I'm waiting for those games where Golden State, everybody's hitting and they're going to be right. Maybe I'm wishing I'm rooting for the Rockets. So I'm glad that Golden State's struggling, but maybe, it's very weird because Golden State, I don't understand what's going on, man. They Klay Thompson, I mean, these guys are supposed to be all world, the greatest backcourt, and then you had Durant and all that, and they're just not hitting for whatever reason. PJ Tucker is actually pretty good defender. He's taking it a challenge to guard Durant and whoever he switches on. Curry is not. They're putting Curry in ISO ball, and when they do the switch, then Curry's on Harden, and then that's a complete mismatch. So Curry's not a great defender. It's just a little weird watching it. Chris Paul has been okay, but man, James Harden is a great player, and I understand it. Rockets need fouls to be called so they can win the game. But man, I tell you right now, James Harden's a heck of a talent. He puts so much pressure on Golden State defensive wise. And then when he's going to the basket now, you had mentioned that stat a week ago where he hasn't taken any mid-range jumpers. Well, now he's going to the basket.
Yeah.
I mean, he's taking some mid-range jumpers, and you got to give Houston credit, but I'm just waiting for Golden State to wake up eventually. Like they did wake up in the Clippers series a couple of games, and they destroyed the Clippers. But I'm waiting for them to wake up in this Rockets series, and I think they will. I think they'll eventually win the series. So, yes, Rockets are in the series, to answer your question. But I still think Golden State's going to win this series. I don't see Houston winning it. Houston has to play exceptionally well to win the games, and they have to hope Golden State plays bad. So that's probably not a recipe to win a series. It's a recipe maybe to win a couple of games in a series like the Clippers did, but it's probably not a recipe for the Rockets to win this series. I see Golden State still winning this series coming up either in 6 or 7. Obviously, it's going to go at least 6, but I still see Golden State winning the series. But give credit to Houston for making it 2-2. It was a good monumental feat last night.
Yeah, I pretty much concur with everything that you said there. Let's
flash back about 12 or 15 seconds left in the game when Golden State had a chance twice to make 3-pointers to tie or even take the lead. Steph Curry and KD both missed big shots towards the end, and that is definitely not like them. They are usually big time shot
people there. Steph Curry did dislocate his finger in game 2, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And maybe that could be cause of his kind of struggle there in Houston. Like we say, struggle mean he's still getting his 20 points or how much it is. He's still top player there. But definitely KD is definitely leading the way there. Believe he had 45 points back on Monday night. Or Sunday night, I should say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Warriors are okay. It is not like they're getting beat down, losing by 20 or 30 points. They lost by 4 on Sunday night. I have no faith. I have all faith in the world in them.
the way the Warriors shot the ball, I mean, Rockets had them down 15, 17, and they really couldn't bury the Warriors.
Yeah.
So and then the Warriors, like you just mentioned, they had a chance to tie the thing up. It was amazing. Rockets should be burying them in terms of how the Warriors are shooting, and they're not. That's bodes well for the Warriors moving forward.
Yeah.
If the Warriors put it together, I mean, this series would be over quickly.
And if you look at the scoring per quarter, Houston had an amazing second quarter, scored 36 points. Golden State only had 26, and still to be only down by, 6 or 7 at like halftime. That's still a pretty an amazing feat. I don't anticipate this going 7 games. I really think that the Warriors are going to step up in Game 5 and Game 6 and end it in Houston. I think they have to for their health wise, because they keep getting these nagging sprained ankles, knee injuries, just like you said, versus the Clippers. They are one injury away from being, kind of up Schitt's Creek, and they already have Cousins hurt. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson both sprained ankles in that series. So they really need to end it early just so they can stop dealing with all these nagging injuries and get some rest in them.
Right. No, you're 100% right. I mean, the Warriors are their own worst enemy. They're fooling around. They fooled around with the Clippers and it went to 6. Now they're fooling around with the Rockets. And now that's at least going to 6.
Yeah, I really wonder if they're going to fool, if they make it to the finals, or I should say when they make it to the finals, are they going to fool around with the Bucks or the Raptors? Because if they do, that could be that could turn the series around real quick.
If everybody stays healthy, right, and nobody gets hurt from the East or West or whatever, if the Warriors got to the finals and they fooled around with the Bucks or Toronto. Or who's the other one? If either Philadelphia.
Right.
Those teams are better than Houston. So you fool around with them, and you're going to end up losing the NBA Finals, just like you did in 2016. So yeah, I mean they can't really fool around when it gets to the finals, because there's too many great players that they would see.
Yeah,
there's too many great defenders they would see.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Think about this for a second. Houston's got P.J. Tucker, good defender. I know Clint Capella, but Clint Capella is almost a non-factor in this series because they're the small ball lineups. There's about 4 or 5 P.J. Tuckers waiting for him in Toronto.
Yeah.
So and that can score also when they get the ball, even better than P.J. Tucker. So the Warriors would be in trouble versus Toronto. I mean, we'll see what happens, but they better not fool around in the finals, obviously.
Yeah, well, speaking of kind of fooling around, let's flash back to Sunday again here. You had the Denver Nuggets beating the Portland Trailblazers in Portland 116-112. That series is now tied 2-2 as well. And then they do play those two teams play tonight in the late game. Are you still taking I believe you took the Trailblazers in 7 in this series.
No, I'll take the Nuggets.
Oh, you're right. I took the Trailblazers. I don't have my notes here today. So, are you still riding high on the Nuggets in this series?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Nuggets, as good as Portland has been playing and as good a team as they are, and Terry Stotts has Portland knowing all their roles and what they should do, and they're almost a perfect team in that sense where, to take something out of Greg Popovich's book, Portland, Terry Stotts has them, all the individual players knowing exactly their roles. They know who their 2 best players are. They know they take most of the shots. They know the others are simply what they are, the others. They wait to see what those 2 are going to do. Then they act accordingly. They know who the rebounders are. They know who the pick guys are. I mean, it's just amazing to watch Portland play. That all being said, I still think the Nuggets are a better basketball team. The Nuggets, and to be quite frank here, the Nuggets have the best basketball player that's on the court at all times, and that's Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
He's better than Damian Lillard, and that says a lot. I'd rather have starting my team with Nikola Jokic, and that's amazing to say in a small ball era, right? Mm-hmm. But Nikola Jokic is almost one of the most perfect big men we've ever seen. He's like Arvydas Sabonis and Tim Duncan in one. It's just very awesome to watch Nikola Jokic perform. And I am so impressed with the Denver Nuggets. It's like they grew up a little bit beating the Spurs. And what they were able to do, Game 3, that went to 4 overtimes, and Denver had a bunch of chances to win the game in regulation, in the overtimes, and they where they messed up at is they threw up some 3-pointers that they should drive to the basket or have somebody cutting to the basket like they've been doing all the whole game. But for them to blow that 4 overtime game and then to come back with Portland having all the confidence and like, hey, we just beat you in 4 overtimes, now we can step on your throat. For Denver's team and Coach Malone to have that team ready to play that game 4 and to beat Portland on their home court to win game 4, I think they showed they were the better team. They were the better team in the quadruple overtime. They just ball didn't bounce their way. I think Denver's the better team. I think Denver survives this series. I think Denver wins game 5 tonight. And Nikola Jokic, if he stays healthy and Jamal Murray stays healthy, they're the best tandem besides Curry and Durant, in my opinion, in the playoffs. Like if you were to tell me right now who's your best tandem, like you would start a team with, obviously I'm going to say Curry and Durant, right?
Right.
But if you took them out of the equation and you added every team in the playoffs, I would take Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic as my second tandem over McCollum and Lillard, over Kawhi and Siakam even. That's a lot to say, but that's how much I love Murray and Jokic. And I think Denver wins game 5, and I think they'll end up winning the series. I said Denver in 7, I believe. So I think this thing goes 7. And so I'm sure all the Denver and Portland fans are happy that Houston tied it up. So, Golden State won't be rested.
Right.
So, yeah, so it extends Golden State. But I see Denver winning tonight and see Denver winning this series. And because they have the best 1-2 punch in this series, and they have the best player on the court when he's on the court, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, and for the second straight series, the Denver Nuggets were down 2-1.
Yeah.
Facing a game 4 must-win situation, and they pulled it out again. This, like I said in the Spurs series, this team has taken leaps and bounds. Like they have grown so much since the first playoffs of the game, like until now. This is their 11th game, going on 12th game in the playoffs, and this 12th game team can definitely destroy that first game team. They are so much leaps and bounds better, and it is crazy to see how much improvement they are making game in and game out. This just shows you about the quadruple about the quadruple overtime game. They could easily have folded up shot and said, you know what, we are done. We're just going to take this second L and we're going to go home and we're going to try to win it at home. And they didn't. They stole that game back that they lost at home, and now it's a series. It's the best 2 out of 3 series, and they have 2 games at home, and I trust them winning 2 games at home.
I do too. Yeah,
they're definitely going to go out there and just play really well tonight. And game 5, I do have them winning as well. Unfortunately, the Trailblazers, they had to win that game 4 to have a chance in the series, and I think they're done now. They've thrown haymakers at them, and the Nuggets just take it on the chin. They keep on trucking forward, and it is really amazing to see actually the improvement that these guys are making.
History shows that when you have a good team down and you don't step on their throat and go up 3-1, and you have a chance to step on the throat of the team that has the home court advantage, and then you don't, and you give them life. Now game 7's at Denver. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you had a chance to avoid game 7, Portland that is, by winning game 4, and you didn't do that. You didn't come up with the big victory. And so, that game's going to come back to haunt Portland, I believe.
And usually we don't think as playoff series is like as in a momentum shift one way or the other. But this, by the Denver winning 1 game at Portland, the way they lost that previous game, this is definitely a momentum shifter. The Trailblazers are kind of, I think they're lost for words now to say frank. And it wouldn't surprise me if they lost game 6 at home.
I mean, Denver's definitely. Sometimes I'm not a big believer in momentum because momentum is only good until you get punched in the mouth the next play. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, you play football, but you got this momentum. But you get punched in the mouth the next play, that momentum can stop, really quickly.
Right.
But I think Denver has all the confidence in the world now. They feel they should have won that quadruple overtime game, and then they won the next game. They're coming back at home. Denver's got much more confidence right now than Portland.
Yeah, and speaking of confidence, let's talk about a team that has probably lost some here a little bit. Philadelphia 76ers and the Raptors, they're at a 2-2 series tie now as well. They go back to Toronto tonight. Who do you got in this one, and do you still have faith in the Raptors in this series?
I do. I picked Toronto in 7. It all depends on Joel Embiid. Which Joel Embiid is going to show up as a guy that, gets you 2 for 7 and 11 points and 12 points. Still has an effect on the game, but, they need his scoring to win. Or is it going to be the Joel Embiid that gets you 30 and 20? That guy right there can go into Toronto and win. So we'll see what happens on that angle, which Joel Embiid shows up. But really, the talk of the series, it's Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is absolutely, in my opinion, he's the best player in the playoffs. I think Jokic is second. I think Durant is third. I think Harden's fourth.
Yeah.
That's my order. And Kawhi Leonard is about as efficient as you can get. And what's amazing is he's getting double teamed. He's turning the ball over a little bit, but he's getting double teamed. They're trying to play defense on him, and it's just not working. The guy is unbelievable. He reminded me of like a little Kobe Bryant, Dr. J. He reminds me of Kobe Bryant getting to his spots and hitting threes and all pick and rolls. And then he reminds me of Dr. J when he gets near the basket with his big hands. He can just have an array of moves around the basket that you couldn't stop Dr. J either when he got in that 5-foot range. His big hands, you didn't know what he was going to do. You didn't know what kind of layup Dr. J was going to do. And his big hands easily got the layup. Kawhi Leonard is absolutely amazing. It's gonna suck for Toronto when they lose Kawhi Leonard at the end of the year. I'm hoping he stays in Toronto, man. I don't even want to see him going west.
I really like him in the black and red.
Yeah, I think it works, man. They just got to re-sign Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard. I think Toronto would be a little mini dynasty there, or at least contend for championships for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think he's gonna go to Clipperland, but I'm hoping he stays. But man, the guy is absolutely amazing, and Siakam gives you that, and Ibaka starting to come alive a little bit. He made a couple of big shots. We put an APB out on Serge Ibaka. Danny Green's a lockdown defender. When the Spurs made that trade, I knew Kawhi Leonard was going to go. I was just kind of disappointed as a Spurs fan that Danny Green was going to take his defense with him, because the Spurs really could have used. I think with Danny Green, Spurs beat Denver. You know what I mean? Because Jamal Murray's not getting any shots.
You're right.
Danny Green's a really good defender. So, so that was the disappointing player I saw go for the Spurs was Danny Green, actually. And Danny Green's been playing pretty well. When he's hitting shots and defending, God, Toronto, that's why I said Toronto is the team that could put a clamp on the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors. So we'll see what happens there. But Philadelphia is really talented as well. They're really talented offensively. Let's see if Tobias Harris wakes up. We'll see if Joel Embiid wakes up. Kind of Brett Brown's kind of changing the way they play a little bit in terms of, he's seeing the deficiencies in Ben Simmons' game. Obviously he can't shoot, so he's putting Jimmy Butler in more scoring situations and having the ball more in Jimmy Butler's hands than Ben Simmons. And I understand that it's the playoffs. Playoffs are done differently. Ben Simmons has to start making some shots. They need to post up Ben Simmons also a little more. And Tobias Harris needs to wake up. But yeah, I see Toronto. It depends on Embiid. If the Embiid shows up, 30 and 20 Embiid, Philadelphia can win. But if that Embiid does not show up, Toronto's going to get this one. I think but at least by 10 points. If the bad Embiid shows up, Toronto wins this thing by 10 points. So I think Toronto's going to win this thing anyway. Gun to my head, I'll pick Toronto at home, but we'll see what happens. This is a pretty highly competitive series. This is no joke. And Philadelphia, do something to stop Kawhi Leonard, please.
They can't.
Do something. Put something in his food or something. I don't know, but yeah,
he is averaging 38 points, 9 boards this series.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's an amazing player. Yeah, and that's why you get the comparisons to Kobe Bryant. To be honest, I think he could be a better player than Kobe Bryant because he's a better rebounder. He's just as good as facilitator, I think, as Kobe Bryant. So and he can score just as easily as Kobe Bryant because I think, with the bigger hands and the way he does around the basket, the moves around the basket, I think he could even be better than Kobe. He's not now. I don't want to make that argument. I don't want people saying you said Kobe, you said Kawhi Leonard. No, not all time. Kobe Bryant is a top 7 player of all time. You know what I mean? If Kawhi Leonard retired today, he might crack the top 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Kawhi Leonard's got a chance here in the next 5-6 years to be like Kobe Bryant. That's a fact. That's a reality. We'll see if he does that. He has all the talent and the skills to do that, the measurables to do that. We'll see if he does. And right now he's making his claim that he can be as good as a Kobe Bryant, Dr. J. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and the one thing I really like about him is he performs in silence. Like you don't see him in the in the post game being all hooping and hollering and F the refs, F this, he shows up to work and he does a job and he does work, to be totally honest. Now, I have to concur with your Joel Embiid siding. He has to show up and play great for Philly to win. But if he plays good and Kawhi keeps doing what he does, I think they will balance each other out. And Kyle Lowry, he needs a shot. Is he the worst playoff player of all time? Where does he go? It's just crazy.
It's a weird anomaly. I mean, it's weird because Kyle Lowry's got a nice jumper. He plays hard. He's good defense. He's got a good dribble. I mean, it's just kind of weird. I mean, let's hope he shows up. I mean, people always give DeMar DeRozan a lot of crap and Kyle Lowry a lot of crap, for the past years. But it's really the Kyle Lowry was more so than DeRozan was a disappointment in the playoffs. DeRozan did it again this year, Michael. He didn't really up his game. He played like DeMar DeRozan, averaged 22, 7, and 7. Like he played the same kind of play. DeRozan didn't disappoint for the Spurs, right? But he didn't go, oh my God, look at DeMar. He can get us. Right. You know what I mean? But he didn't go 2 for 20. He didn't suck. So it's hard to be mad at DeRozan. I mean, you can't be mad at him if he didn't elevate his game to a Kawhi Leonard type level. But Kyle Lowry's the guy in the past for Toronto that DeRozan's kind of steady, the same player, right, in the regular season. And Kyle Lowry's the guy that's 2 for 16.
Yeah.
Not 9 for 30. What are you doing? You know what I mean? He's playing worse in the playoffs than he did in the regular season. Hey, Kyle, we just need you to be Kyle. We just need you to be regular season Kyle Lowry.
Exactly.
And he can't even do that.
And I think Toronto will win the series, without him stepping up his game. But they will not beat the Bucks and or the Celtics, and they definitely won't win the finals with him shooting 2 for 30 or whatever he did a couple games ago.
Once it gets to big stakes like this, once they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, you'll see Van Fleet play more. The backup, Van Fleet, from Wichita State, you'll see him play more than Kyle Lowry. I don't think Coach Nurse will just leave Kyle Lowry out there to go, 5 for 20. I think he'll be pulled.
Then I wonder why they aren't experimenting with that more. Like in this series that they know that they can win, without Lowry doing more. I would like to see them do that. If you think that's going to be the I like the outcome.
Well, it's like a player they're paying a lot of money to, and they give you a lot of rope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll eventually let you hang yourself, but they won't. I've seen Pop do it. I've seen a lot of the great coaches do it. We're paying this player a lot of money. We're giving him a lot of rope, but in the moment of truth, when it's really on when it gets to when the stakes get higher, NBA Finals, Pop wouldn't if Kyle Lowry was on the Spurs, Pop wouldn't let Kyle Lowry go 5 for 22. He'd be done. He'd be a new 5 in there, because the stakes are too high now. Right. He might let him get away with that in the first, second round, because we can survive because they have Tim Duncan or Kawhi Leonard, but he won't let him do that. He's going to cut that rope in the finals or in the Eastern Conference or Western Conference Finals.
Well, hopefully they make it to the finals with him still testing the rope. But they definitely need to figure something out. They need to find him like a woman on the street or something to loosen him up, maybe. But let's go ahead and move over to here. We'll be right back here in a second.